1954, for the very first time, hydroelectricity was produced at Owen Falls Dam in Jinja, which was later named Nalubale Dam in 2001 by President Yoweri Museveni. The dam was meant to provide cost-effective hydroelectricity for industrial development. Consequently, a number of industries were started, urban centers were also developed, the economy started growing exponentially, and the demand for electricity increased for both industrial and domestic use. Soon, the demand outmatched the supply, and the country was plunged into electricity rationing. Businesses that depended on electricity were greatly affected due to continuous interruptions. In 1986, when the NRM took political power, increasing the amount of electricity was one of their priorities because they knew very well that they could not transform the shattered economy without adequate and stable electricity supply. They then embarked on constructing new power stations to increase the available capacity.
Today, about 59% of Ugandans have access to power. And as we work to grow the demand and grow the distribution and transmission networks, it's important that we have a source of generation. And therefore, as we drive universal access to 100%, access to clean energy, the need for power generation continues to remain critical.
Vision 2040, we are supposed to have 52,000 megawatts. We are currently, with the commissioning of Karuma, at about 2,000 megawatts. And when you look at the demand, industrial development in this country, certainly will need to increase generation capacity.
If we were to achieve the third principle of the NRM, of socio-economic transformation, we have to invest in power generation, transmission, and distribution. People must get access to power, not only just power, but reliable power and affordable power.
Nestled amidst the scenic landscape of Uganda, the Karuma Hydropower Station stands as a magnificent symbol of extreme engineering. The 600 megawatts Karuma Hydropower project is located on River Nile in Kiryandongo district, 110 kilometers downstream of Lake Kyoga and 270 kilometers from Kampala city. In 1996, NOPAC, a Norwegian energy company, acquired exclusive rights to develop the project. In 2003, a feasibility study showed that Karuma would produce 200 megawatts as a run-of-the-river power plant. NOPAC, however, pulled out of the project in 2008. In 2012, another study was done, which changed the initial plan. Karuma would now have an underground powerhouse and produce 600 megawatts once it was completed.
It was supposed to be a surface dam together with a powerhouse. However, this was changed again after the feasibility study in 2012-2013, where the configuration of this plant was changed from a surface plant to an underground plant.
This was in a bid to increase the head so that we could get a higher installed capacity from the same location, using the same storage or volume of water, but with an increased head, because it was initially conceptualized as a 200 megawatt plant.
On August 12, 2013, President Yoweri Museveni launched the project, and actual civil works commenced on December 16, 2013. The state-of-the-art project was meticulously designed with 6 major components: a dam section, power intake unit, powerhouse, transformer cavern, surge chamber, pressure shafts, cable shaft, and 2 tail race tunnels for returning water circulating through the turbines back to the river. These are intake and dam structures. The dam is constructed with 9 hydromechanical spillway gates that control the flow of water but also prevent flooding at the dam.
The dams are meant to keep a certain level of water. So these spillway gates, in essence, control these levels. And so the 9 of them are currently operational. And on the extreme right of the river, we have a fish ladder.
Because during the studies which were done, it was discovered that there's some migratory fish which breed and spawn upstream. Okay? So when you put a barrier, you'll be affecting them. So you have to make a provision where they can be able to move upstream. So the fish ladder mimics the normal flow of the river without the dam wall. Okay? So the fish can feel it's the real river and they swim upstream and go and spawn.
This structure is not a threat to the flowing River Nile. It was designed with ecological flow gates.
This is to allow a minimum of 100 cubic meters per second of water all the time.
As per this design, some of the water is diverted to pass underground, and 9 kilometers downstream, it goes back to the river.
Upstream of the intake gates are trash racks that sheave floating debris and bars it from entering the unit. It is then loaded on trucks and disposed of. The electrico-mechanical installation of the power stations are located 100 meters underground with 26.5 kilometers of underground access roads, making Karuma the 14th largest underground power station in the world. It contributes 40% of Uganda's electricity.
This project has been unique and still unique. It's the largest power station in the country. It is an underground station, the only of its kind in East Africa.
Karuma is a flagship project in Uganda, even in Africa. It will contribute almost 40% of the energies to Uganda. It's a benefit for the government and also for the people in these regions.
To access the powerhouse, you drive through a 2.5 kilometers arch tunnel built by blasting the mountain rock, creating a 12-meter wide and 9-meter tall tunnel. It is wide and high enough to support mobility of machinery in and out of the powerhouse.
We have very strong rock material here. So you use the drill and blast method, and if you can look there where you see some bit of scratches, they were using a drilling machine. Then they would put charges in there, and after the explosion, then they would excavate the material and load it on 2 dump trucks, then take it out to the disposal area.
There are other numerous smaller tunnels that aided the construction, but also play a key access role during general maintenance in the project.
This facility here is what we call the EVT, exhaust and ventilation tunnel. So it has 2 functions. One is for escaping from the powerhouse in case of emergencies, and the second one is to supply fresh air. So there are fans that extract air from the atmosphere outside, letting it to the powerhouse for workers to breathe normally and make the environment conducive.
The electrico-mechanical installation of the power stations are located 100 meters underground with 26.5 kilometers of underground access roads.
Right now we are 100 meters underground from the surface, and this is where the powerhouse is situated. So because the configuration is an underground power plant, the powerhouse itself is underground. So from the intake through the penstock to the powerhouse via the spiral casing of the turbine, and later out to the tail race tunnels.
When the inlet gate is open, water is released from the reservoir to the intake, falls through a penstock to the turbine. Each of the installed 6 turbine units is served by independent intake inlets. From a head of 60 meters and 70 meters maximum, each turbine requires at least a volume of 182,000 liters per second to be able to rotate and generate 100 megawatts. The water hits the blades and pushes them to spin the turbine. As the turbine spins, it transfers kinetic energy and sends it to the generator, which converts it to electricity.
This mimics the rotor, that's the red, and the part where there is blue is where the water is. So blue for water, and the rotating part where the blue is what we call the runner. That is the mechanical part which interfaces with the water to enable it to turn the whole generating unit. So it is through this rotor that electricity is created through fluxing.
On Wednesday, 23rd March 2023 at 16:14 hours, Unit number 1 of the 6 turbine units was successfully synchronized and added 100 megawatts to the national grid. This milestone marked the start of power generation at the super plant. The 400 kV power is sent to the gas insulated switchgear, GIS, a suitable technology for this underground project.
If we had gone outdoor switchgear, the what was seen with transmission outside there, it could not fit here. So they introduced this technology. This technology minimizes the space.
From the GIS, 400 kV power is sent out in 2 lines to enable flexibility to switch from one line to another in case one line goes off, so that there is continuous power supply.
And we will continue generating more power so that we have 100% of the population of Uganda access this power. Right now, we are at 60%, where 22% are on the national grid and 38% is on mini grids, other sources. So we want, at least by 2030, to have 100% access to power.
Currently, the amount of kerosene which we are importing and using is going down because everybody is moving into clean energy. We want to move those who are cooking using firewood, using charcoal, let them come to use electricity for cooking. We want to focus on the children. I don't want any child actually to be reading using a candle.
The Karuma Hydropower project came as a blessing to the people of Uganda.
The historical background of Karuma and the image of Karuma was not as normal now. Karuma was some few houses from that time, but right now, anyone can just come and be surprised how Karuma developed. From the village, change to the town council because the influx of the people were increased.
We foresee that Karuma is going to see a boom in industrialization arising from that government policy of direct supply of power from the generator to the end user, and therefore an incentive to set up industrial parks close to the power plants.
UEGCL has gone beyond its cardinal role of generating electricity to improving the general welfare of the local people.
At one point, this project was employing over 10,000 local staff, service providers, those who give us the food, those who provide the security, those who maintain. So it's something that we emphasize to the service providers that we should make a difference within the community, and one of them is to make sure that we give them jobs.
We've gained skills in design reviews, in contract management. We are now in a better position and more confident if we got another big project of this size to work on it.
In the field of IT, basically at the moment, I can run my own IT firm from the experience I've gained from here, because I've really interconnected the entire project, both underground and then on surface. Because of what I did, I was elevated from just a mere IT tech to a senior IT technician in the project.
The existence of the project has created business opportunities and improved infrastructure with a focus on health and education.
Community Development Action Program that we implemented alongside the Uganda Electricity Generation Company. We've been able to set up schools, health centers, and those are transforming lives. We are seeing more children benefiting from the schools that we set up, but also better health care for the people of Karuma.
The Karuma Hydropower project leaves a modern, fully equipped health center, D. Chwinyi General Hospital.
This is the only health center 3 in Kamdini sub-county. The nearest health center is like 8 kilometers. Before this place was established, the community of this area, they used to move to those health center 2s, and others were even unable to move, so they could rely on the small drug shops around this area.
This facility houses the outpatient department, including a general clinic, administration, teenage, radiology, orthopedic, and laboratory sections. 2 units of nurses' quarters were constructed, sorting out medical staff accommodation issues.
Around 792 outpatients for the month. Even in antenatal, we managed to get 103 mothers that attended antenatal from here. And we also have services we're offering like maternal, that is deliveries, where we managed to admit 14 mothers, and out of 14, the 11 delivered normally without any problem. And we managed to get 12 babies because one mother gave birth to twins.
The CSR initiatives undertaken by the Karuma Hydropower project have left a lasting impression on the communities it serves. Through infrastructure development, educational enhancements, employment opportunities, and healthcare initiatives, the project has brought about substantial improvements, transforming the lives of countless individuals. Richard Opito, the head teacher of Amaji Primary School, vividly recalls the state of the school before the Karuma project intervened.
Amaji Primary School formerly had very old structures. Children were sitting down on the floor. But as a result of the intervention, they constructed for us very decent classrooms, well equipped with a desk and other learning materials.
When we were still in the other classroom, there were no good lights, but now we have good electricity that we can learn at night, revise our books, and that one is going to improve on our performance.
Furthermore, the school now has access to clean water supply, which has had a positive impact on the students' general health and hygiene. Consequently, these improvements have significantly increased enrollment at the school, as parents now trust the school. At Puron Primary School in Noya District, the Karuma Hydro Project Community Development Action Program, Phase 1, left significant developments.
Before the construction of this classroom block, we were not having enough light to read because of darkness. This makes us not to perform well in our school here. We were not having also the teacher's quarter. Before the building, our teacher was using huts, grass thatch huts for living. That would also give our teacher more courageous.
They constructed 2 classroom blocks, the head teacher's office, 4 staff houses, and 4 VIP latrines with improved facilities.
Because we received also 1 block of 4 units, staff accommodation, and something which is actually not in any other schools in the district. Initially, we were having actually grass thatch houses. And you would imagine a teacher living that actually such accommodation. When it is raining and then your room is leaking, how do you feel? Even your materials that you have to use in your lesson, you cannot even prepare. And you expect that person to come to class and deliver. So now we are very grateful to Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited.
9 kilometers from Karuma towards Kampala is Dima Primary School, which has also benefited from the project. Being on the highway, the school is a clear landmark of development, It shines with beauty in UEGCL brand colors.
The school was totally in a very bad state. The classrooms, very old. The teachers' houses, only grass-thatched houses, where teachers were even fearing to stay in them. And most teachers would come from very far, renting, and late coming was the issue. We had only 4 stanzas for boys and 4 stanzas for girls. And very old, we could empty every term twice. The situation wasn't good. We are very glad UCGL came in and gave us 4 classrooms, staff room and an office. I didn't have an office. There was an old structure, classroom, which was used as an office. One time the DO told me, "Won't you die here in the school, in this office?" I said, "What can I do?" This way. So he told me, "Sit under the tree." I said, "No, God will one day bring."
Generating affordable electricity is one of the development strategy and goals of the government under Vision 2040.
The vehicles, the buses are going to move into electric buses. We are going to have, even the train is going to be electric. So that means we need to increase the generation of power, the amount of power which we are producing.
This Karuma power will positively affect our tariff. But our target as government is to supply the industrial parks first at 5 US cents per kilowatt hour. Then we will trickle down to the communities, and every January I will be announcing the tariff for the year.
The completion of the Karuma Hydropower Station marks a significant milestone in Uganda's journey towards energy independence and sustainable development. The government aims at transforming Uganda from a predominantly peasant and low-income country to a competitive upper-middle-income country.